Doctor was played by Christopher Eccleston in 2005, lasting in Series 1, or Season 27, depending on your geek levels, and only remaining in the role for a year. Nine was less eccentric than his predecessors, but still retained the alien qualities that have made the character so popular. Nine's character was a reaction against the Time War, which ended with him making the decision to end both the Time Lords and the Daleks forever, which made him the last of the Time Lords, for now anyway. Nine's era introduced new monsters such as the Slitheen, the Gelf, the Reapers and gas mask zombies that would ask for their mummies. However, old enemies included the Autons and the Daleks, and his era introduced a more down-to-earth feel to the programme under the guidance of showrunner Russell T Davies. An example of this can be found in Rose Tyler, who arguably had the most background of the companions up to that point, except maybe Ace. With her boyfriend Mickey Smith and mother Jackie Tyler, the series aimed to explore the idea of how the companions' travel in the TARDIS would affect their home life. In some ways, it worked, as Mickey and Jackie became better people having met the Doctor, as Mickey went from a bumbling klutz to a man who saw the benefits of travelling with the Doctor and would become a helping hand to him, even more in Series 2. This example, in my opinion, is Nine's entire character arc in Series 1. He's the man who walked away from the Time War and would be the Doctor again by making people better. Without any further ado, let's count down 5 of his fantastic stories. Number 5. The Unquiet Dead. This was Doctor Who's first historical since it came back in 2005, and its first to contain a celebrity historical, with the Doctor meeting Charles Dickens. The story involves the dead roaming the streets of Cardiff, with the Doctor and Rose teaming up with Charles Dickens while encountering the Gelf, gaseous creatures from the other side of the universe, with their homeworld lost and hoping to inhabit dead humans to live again. But can they be trusted? Being Doctor Who's first historical, this episode succeeds from a production standpoint, as you really feel like you've stepped into Victorian Cardiff on a cold Christmas Eve. The Gelf, I also think, are a great creation, as they're aliens made out of gas that give them a ghostly and ethereal feel and look. They look so unearthly, but also benevolent at the same time. Simon Callow plays Charles Dickens, and I think he's brilliant here, and even goes through an arc of his own, as he starts the episode criticising his own work and how his imagination has grown stale, but him meeting the Doctor opened up his mind, and even more, and by the end Charles is inspired to write again, and ends walking ecstatically through the streets proclaiming, "God bless us, everyone." Furthermore, this is Eve Miles' first appearance in the Doctor Who universe, and she plays Gwyneth, a serving girl with psychic powers who is used to bring the Gelf through the rift. Miles would go on to play Gwen in the spin-off series Torchwood, and the same rift mentioned in this episode would be the basis around Torchwood's actions. But with an inventive monster, sparkling dialogue, excellent production design and performances, The Unquiet Dead is definitely a highlight in Nine's era. Number 4. Father's Day. Now, I've made it clear on many occasions that I'm not a fan of the character of Rose Tyler. However, that doesn't mean I don't love Billie Piper as an actress, and this is her finest hour. Peter Tyler, Rose's father, died on November 7th, 1987, and the Doctor takes her back to the day, but in the spur of the moment, Rose saves her father from a car accident and damages time by summoning the Reapers, creatures that have come to sterilise the wound in time and consuming everything inside. If I was to sum up this episode from a performance and a script level, I'd choose the word humanity. This story is filled with such human elements that make it work, which is personified in Peter Tyler, played excellently by Sean Dingwall. Rose's vision of her dad is this successful businessman, but in reality he was just a bit of a Del boy, making a bit of cash by selling pretty rubbish inventions. But Billie Piper's acting on seeing her dad for the first time is brilliant, as she runs such a range of emotions because she doesn't know what to feel because she never really knew her dad. Sean Dingwall as Pete is also excellent. He will do anything for his family, and he makes the ultimate sacrifice at the end. And what makes it all the more heartbreaking is that Pete didn't deserve to die, but he's willing to do this if it's to save everyone and his family. Not to mention, the Doctor's best moment here is when he's talking to the married couple, Stuart and Sarah, who think they're not important in the whole grand scheme of things, but the Doctor tells them they are because he's never had a life like those two, and that's what makes them special. If I do have criticism, it's the inclusion of the Reapers, as they feel like an obligation to be the monster of the week, along with the cliched end of the world feel. But with a superb multi-layered script combined with fantastic performances, Father's Day is definitely one of the more human adventures in Doctor Who's long history. Number 3. Dalek. While there were new monsters that the production team would bring to the screen, that doesn't mean that they couldn't rely on old enemies of the past, and what better enemy to bring back than the Doctor's most iconic? The Daleks. The Doctor and Rose arrive in 2012 in an alien artifacts museum owned by billionaire Henry Van Statten, but the Doctor is horrified to discover that Van Statten's one living specimen is the last surviving Dalek from the Time War. One of the aims of this episode was to bring the Daleks back and show them as a force to be reckoned with that would send kids scurrying behind the sofa once again, and this episode more than succeeded. The Dalek is perfectly introduced to new viewers, as it's shown to be a merciless, indestructible killer that honestly believes that anything different from it should die. Not to mention, the episode does show the true power of the Daleks. See what I did there? There are excellent scenes of death and destruction, such as hearing gunfire over the intercom. You still hear it, then Van Statten orders the soldiers to stop firing, but then you hear the gunfire stop, and you think, oh, they've followed his orders, but we cut to the dead soldiers. It's just brilliant stuff. Rob Sherman definitely knows how to write for the Daleks, and one of the best moments is the Dalek confused on what to do, as it realises it's the last of its kind. The Doctor screams at the Dalek to die, but the Dalek just responds with, "You would make a good Dalek," which is just the worst thing that can be said to you by your worst enemy. And it's moments like this which makes me wish that Rob Sherman would come back and write for the show. If I do have criticism, it's that I'm not a fan of Adam, as he reminds me of Adric, an annoying boy genius. And Rose defending the Dalek for wanting to feel the sunlight is just daft. But other than that, Dalek is a superb episode filled with death, destruction, action, and an iconic villain brought back in full force again. Number 2. Bad Wolf and the Parting of the Ways. This story is 13 years old, and in that time on New Who, not one story has topped this one in terms of a regeneration. The Doctor, Rose and Captain Jack are forced to play deadly renditions of reality TV on the game station in the year 200-100. Escaping the games, the three discover that the true enemy behind the game station is the Dalek Emperor and an army of 500,000 Daleks. While the game show references to the Weakest Link, Big Brother and what's the other one, What Not to Wear, have dated the episode a little bit, that still doesn't stop this story from being a fantastic finale for the Ninth Doctor. Throughout Series 1 of Doctor Who, the Ninth Doctor influenced the people around him, and it was rarely him who saved the day, but after the Time War, he became determined to be the Doctor again, and influenced Mickey, Jackie, Jabe, Nancy, Captain Jack, and others to become more than who they are and be better people. For this story, however, the Doctor saves Rose by taking the time vortex from her and pouring it back into the TARDIS, which costs him his 9th life. But every hero is as great as its villain, and the Daleks are on top form here as they exterminate anything that's in their way. Not to mention, the Dalek Emperor model is a thing of beauty! Plus, despite Captain Jack only having been in 5 episodes up to this point, his death still means something. He trusts the Doctor with his life, and he knows he's a dead man when fighting the Daleks, but he'll fight to the last bullet if it means buying the Doctor more time. Not to mention, Nine's regeneration scene still gets me teary-eyed to this day. It's so sad, but reassuring at the same time, and can change knowing that he was fantastic and he made people better. With a superb threat, excellent action and amazing performances filled with too many fantastic moments to count, Bad Wolf and the Parting of the Ways is a fantastic end to the Ninth Doctor's era. Number 1. The Empty Child and the Doctor Dancers. This is the first ever episode, unless you count Curse of the Fatal Death, written by the Master, that is Stephen Moffat, and what a script he started out on. Chasing a ship through the time vortex, the Doctor and Rose arrive in wartime London during the Blitz. While Rose meets time agent Captain Jack Harkness, the Doctor finds a group of orphan children being terrorised by a child wearing a gas mask looking for his mummy. What makes this my favourite of the Ninth Doctor era is that it takes a lot of my favourite stories from each era of Doctor Who and incorporates all the elements here. Humour, mystery, atmosphere, horror and excellent character writing. This story still scares me today with the gas mask zombies and especially the transformation of Dr. Constantine. We only met him 5 minutes ago, but it's such a sad and horrifying moment, and while he's there to give exposition about the crash site and the gas mask zombies, we still learn a lot about him. Constantine lost his children and grandchildren in the war, but being the Doctor is the only thing he has left, so he makes it his duty to keep the patients in the hospital comfortable, something that the Doctor himself can relate to. This is also the introduction of Captain Jack Harkness, played by John Barrowman. And while he starts out as a cowardly yet dashing conman, it's still the Doctor's influence that makes him a better person by the end of the story. From a production standpoint, this episode is excellent. Apart from a few dodgy green screen effects, you really feel like you've stepped into the Blitz, and setting it at night certainly adds to the atmosphere. Nancy is also a superb character, doing her best looking after the hungry orphans, and comes to accept her responsibility as a mother by the story's end. Once again, thanks to the Doctor's influence, who gives her a superb speech about England standing up to the German war machine, which in turn gives her hope for the future. And what's interesting is she finds it easy to accept time travellers because, from her point of view, the world has gone to hell at this point. But the Doctor and Rose tell her of a better future that she can look forward to. Despite having a reputation of being one of the scariest Doctor Who stories ever made, the main enemy is just a case of technology having gone wrong, as the nanogenes fixed a dying, scared child looking for his mummy and spread it across wartime London, showing everything across the universe has consequences. With excellent writing, characters, production values, and brilliant use of sci-fi and horror, The Empty Child and the Doctor Dancers is a superb way in which everybody lives. Well everyone, that's all from me. Comment below what your favourite Ninth Doctor stories are. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.